Conform or rebel? That is the question. Whether it is, no, don't worry, I'm not going to do that. This is the question. When you see people that you think are very businesslike, very professional, you think successful, and it's in the same sort of field as you've set up as, say, let's say a coach, for instance, and it's a fairly new business. So you're looking around and you're thinking, no, they're really businesslike, aren't they? Networking events, something you've seen online, their websites, on LinkedIn. Yeah, they're really, I think I probably need to be like that. And then this other bit of your brain says, I'm not like that. I mean, I don't want to, no, I do not want to be like that. I'm going to be completely different. I'm going to really change the record on all of this. And then you think, yeah, but then nobody's going to take me seriously. I'd call that a conundrum. It's a sort of conformity conundrum. Is there an answer to this riddle? To conform, to rebel. Conform, rebel, conform, rebel. I like to think of myself by nature as being quite rebellious. But then, what does that mean? When it comes to business, I've really struggled with this because I've kind of realized that there are certain things that you just do need to do if you're going to grow your business, if you're going to be visible, and if you're going to get people understanding what you do, trusting you, all of those things. You do have to follow a few rules. You can't just go completely off script. But how many of these conformity things do you need to follow? Because there's a point at which you tip over into just being, well, magnolia, I think is the expression. And worse than that, into being somebody that you're not, so much that you are fighting against it. I always talk about, when I speak about sort of imposter syndrome type stuff, the three things: hide out and burnout and freak out. And I think you could be in danger of hiding out behind this conformity thing. I must be like this to be businesslike. You could be in danger of burning out because you're constantly trying to produce content and do the kind of stuff and make your website like this and LinkedIn that isn't you. So you're in this horrible fight, which just feels quite depressing. Or you freak out, which is when you just go rebellious at the wrong moment. Great to be a bit rebellious, but not if it's from a sort of fighty instinct. You need to do it calmly. Did I just say you could rebel calmly? Actually, I've only just thought of that literally as I'm doing this free flow conversation. How do you rebel calmly? Because I think that might be the answer. You definitely don't want to keep conforming to what you see as the successful professional model of growing a business, because it completely discounts the important part, which is that it's you that people are going to buy from, especially if it is a solo business, just you, something that is a service like coaching. They need to know you, and they're not going to know you if you're just blandly fitting into all these tick boxes of what everyone else is doing. But that's not a sort of rebel as in, I go like this to all your conformity people. I will be different. I'm maverick. Because actually you can go too far down there and people think you're just a little bit up yourself. Not only that, but they probably won't think you're necessarily very consistent, therefore maybe not quite as trustworthy as you need to be. And also, what are they going to get from you? They want a certain calmness. So yes, let's rebel calmly. Let me think about that for a minute, because I have literally only just come up with that idea. I've thought about it. Okay, take for instance something like, as I say, coaching. There are billions of coaches in the world. So you are a tiny little fish in a huge big pond. Is the answer to try and emulate the big fish? No. They have had probably years in the business. They've probably spent a fortune on all sorts of clever tricks, and they've built up this reputation over it. Or maybe they've just had a fluky viral video or something, and they're just kind of winging it a bit. But whatever it is, no, don't try and emulate them. What you need to do is actually conform to certain things before you do the rebel bit. So the conforming bit needs to be, yes, I need to be clear about what I'm offering. And I need to do that from the point of view of what are those pain points, those challenges of my target client. Because that might sound very boring and corporate and tick boxy, but it is actually just plain straightforward psychology, isn't it? The other one is, yes, I need to have some kind of logo, some kind of branding, so I'm recognizable and consistent. And I need to have a website that looks, reasonably professional, doesn't have to be fancy. I need to be probably on LinkedIn because a lot of my clients will be there. Therefore, I need to have some of that conformity, as in the way I do my profile and showing up regularly, etc. But, and this is where the rebel in you comes out, like this bit. You can't compete with billions of other coaches by doing all of those things. You aren't going to get everybody else's clients. You're only going to get a few, and you can only handle a few, but you want good ones. You want the right ones. You want ones that you're going to enjoy working with, and you're going to want ones that come back time and time and recommend you and all that stuff. The rebel bit has to be that you do not conform as in the style, the personality of all these other people. You remember that you are an individual, and some people are going to like working with you because they get to know your way, your approach. Now, that can be in the way you do your coaching, and it can also be in the manner in which you show up, like I'm showing up now, which is not particularly corporate, is it? I think we can all agree. And once I realized I didn't need to wear sort of jackets and suits and things to networking, and I didn't need to do neat little posts and things on LinkedIn, and I started to emerge more as an individual, that was when I got more traction and I got more interesting clients and clients that gave me a buzz, and I enjoyed creating the content more and all the rest of it. That's the rebellious bit. You do need it, but you have to also do it calmly with a little lovely bed of conformity, propping it up underneath. Is that okay? Yeah, I think so. That doesn't make you a conformist. It makes you very sensible, very wise, businesslike, but also different. Thank goodness. Good. Well, I'm glad I got that out of my system. I'm not going to tell you what to watch next. Remember, I'm not doing any of those algorithm things. This is not algorithm friendly, this video. The algorithms will think, what on earth is she blabbering on about? But I hope it makes some sense to you, and I hope it might be a little bit inspiring, maybe motivating. Just give you something to think about anyway.